Thanks for being here. My name is Mile Marker, also known as Madeline. This podcast aims to discover what it means to live authentically. I work to uncover tools to help me be most present in my life. Each episode, we will discuss themes like how to listen to your body, understanding ways to be true to yourself, and learning what deep fulfillment looks like. The episodes will also relate to ideas inspired by my 2024 hike across the state of Arizona. Let's do this. It has been about 12 weeks since recording episode 8 of Musings with Mile Marker. Before I started this podcast project, and before my 2025 resolution of learning to trust my intuition or trying to listen to my body, I would have been hard on myself for saying, oh, I started a podcast project. Why haven't I put an episode out sooner? Is being busy, is traveling an excuse? I shouldn't be making an excuse. But now I understand that life happens when it happens. And the podcast is going to come out when it's ready to come out. And in July, after I went and helped the dogs, I ended up actually fostering some. And the fostering of the dogs really was a whole project that I never could have anticipated. And I think something I want to address with the audio from day 9 of the hike is about rolling with the punches and dealing with things that are unforeseen. Because, of course, these 4th of July floods in the hill country of central Texas were unforeseen. And my desire to help these dogs and support Austin Pets Alive was very visceral, but it was also unforeseen and very out of the blue. So it's important in life to leave space for things that can occur that you never anticipated. And something that I've done in the past, and something that is related to this hike, is I like to plan things. I want to prepare for things that I know are upcoming. But despite all of your preparations, there's always going to be a time in every moment of your day that you have to roll with the punches and just approach each moment as it approaches you and approach each moment as it arrives. And I was doing a lot of things between the last episode and today, and I'm really glad that I'm giving myself grace and saying, okay, I wasn't ready to make an episode, but I am today. So today, September 25th, 2025, is the day that episode 9 is coming out. And that's neither here nor there, but that's where we are right now. I'm going to include the audio from day 9, but I'm also going to add a little bit of a clip from day 10 because it's relevant to day 9, and I know I'll have enough of an inspiration from the remainder of the day 10 audio in order to still fill an episode. So you're about to hear a full audio clip from day 9, and then I'm going to say, okay, here is a break, and then we're going to listen to the day 10 audio as well. Hello. It is 5:35 p.m. on Monday, the 18th, day 9. We are at Grass Shack Campground in Saguaro National Park. The campground is stunning. There are like rivers. It's like a thick creek. Like I'd call it a small river flowing right next to us. We're in this group campsite. Nick and I have a tent. Morgan has a tent. Slowpoke has a tent. She's actually pretty fast. She's a mom from Bellingham. Mrs. Joy has a tent. I saw her name in the logs on Far Out, informing us of how much water was in the caches, so I appreciated that. Told her I appreciated that. Figure 8 is here. She is semi-nomadic, but kind of lives in upstate New York and Los Angeles. She has a tent. Gary is here. I just met him a few minutes ago. He has a tent, and a guy named Derek just got here too. Oh, and Grasshopper rented his own campsite, so we're all here hanging out. The group campsite's really nice. I saw some jasmine bushes, which really perked my spirits up because the climb up for the last 6 miles was really challenging. There were 2 really lovely creeks. Oh, and we saw Particle and Fancy Dan at the creeks earlier today. I think they were going to Manning Camp, though, so they're going to be a little chilly. On my way up, I encountered a couple. They were a little older, and the woman commented on my Durston bag, and she said she's getting the Cockle 55 soon. And the man was saying that he thinks that the umbrella is a genius. I had the umbrella up all afternoon during the entire climb to Grashak. It really, really has been helping, so I'm happy to hear that other people support the umbrella, even though it's very dorky. It does feel effective. Today was pretty hard, but I'm not in that much pain, so that's good. Yeah. Nick, how are you feeling about our hike?
Good.
Nick's feeling good. He's enthused. I mean, there's just nothing. It's also beautiful. There's like a waterfall today that we got to see. Saguaro National Park really has been a stunning section. All those creeks have been amazing. There were a couple people doing trail maintenance. I'm glad I cooked. Oh, I cooked the couscous. I picked up a couscous that someone had. Couscous that someone had made and left in the box, the hiker box at Colossal Cave, and I ate that for lunch. And it was honestly so good because our rations from Colossal Cave till now, or at least from now until Gordon Hirabayashi, are kind of limited. So at least have a lunch extra. I only have oatmeal tomorrow, and then I guess I can do a recovery for the morning before Gordon Hirabayashi. We'll make it work. Definitely we'll make it work. I got some Fritos from the Colossal Cave campground, so I am not too concerned. Looking forward to Tucson and 0 day. Nick is more keen on a Tucson 0 day because he wants to get a massage or maybe go to a movie.
We don't have to.
But we're gonna play it by ear. No, maybe we could. That might sound nice. Yeah, half day exactly. I think we're gonna have to get up early tomorrow, and definitely early the following day because our mileage. We only did 13 and change today, and we got in early. We got in at like 3:30, 3:15, something like that. So that was good timing. But all these climbs take a lot out of you. Take a little more time. I was expecting my miles to be like in the 45 minutes, but they weren't even that bad. They were in like the high 30s. So making good pace, even though it's strenuous. Today was a great day. Really super scenic. What you just heard was audio from my 9th day hiking the Arizona Trail, and I'm going to continue with the opening portion of the day 10 hiking audio as well. So let's listen to that. Hello, it is 5:40 p.m. It is Tuesday, the 19th of March. It is day 10. So this morning we woke up and Nick and I were going through our food and realized, oh, wait a minute. We have oatmeal for breakfast, but we do not have any dinner for the next day. Frankly, or breakfast for the following day. So we were like, uh-oh. That was when I realized that I had shortchanged us in our Colossal Cave box. But thankfully, while we were talking amongst ourselves in our tent, Mrs. Joy eavesdropped and said, oh, I can give you a ramen. And I said, oh, hallelujah, thank you so much. And then Slowpoke said, oh, I can give you these little Trader Joe's peanut butter bites that I don't really like either. And I'm like, oh, hallelujah. Gary had already left, which I didn't even realize. Morgan left on the earlier side, but then we hit the road. We made it up Micah Mountain. The trail doesn't even technically go to the summit of Micah Mountain, but instead we took a side trail, sort of accidentally, and Nick scrambled up Spud Rock, which was cool. So we had our little detour on Spud Rock, then we got back on track, and then we saw Morgan on our way down. Walked with her for some time. The creeks were great. Then we saw Derek at one of the creeks, and Morgan had said, oh, when I saw Derek this morning, he was eating Nutter Butters, and he offered me a whole box because he has tons of extra food, and I was like, no way. So then when he saw him in the afternoon, we said, Derek, hey, do you have any extra food you can lend us? So he gave us each a ramen and a Chips Ahoy, which was amazing. So now we're back on track with our calories, which is really exciting news. We're going to have to try to play it forward somehow. What you just heard was
a small portion of audio from day 10 of hiking. What I want to spend a few minutes discussing is the food rations. So I had prepared my food boxes all in advance, and I tried to assume what my mileage would be between each resupply. And apparently, my box that was supposed to last from Colossal Cave to Tucson, which was originally planned as the Gordon Hirabayashi trailhead, somehow did not have enough food in it. And I was realizing this in the evening of day 9 by explaining that I had oatmeal and not much else and Fritos. But I definitely wasn't panicked by this, which is good, because you just have to notice, okay, this is how many calories I have. I'm going to live. I'm going to be able to make it to my next destination. I will arrive in Tucson in one piece. But what I'm really glad I did, or what ended up ultimately happening, was getting food from other people. It's okay to ask for help. And especially on the trail, people want to help each other. I think that's one of the most beautiful things about this entire hiking experience is the immediate sense of community and support by other hikers and random people that I encountered while on the trail or while on this journey. And I noticed we were not going to have enough food. And Mrs. Joy stepped in and said, "Can I give you this food?" And then Derek stepped in and said, "Can I give you this food?" And it really is okay to ask for help. And I don't know why that is something that feels difficult for me, or it feels difficult at different times. Sometimes it's really easy to ask for help, or if I feel like my help is justified, or if I feel like I'm allowed to ask for help, then it's easy. But if I feel like I'm asking for help because I made a mistake that was avoidable, then it's almost like I don't deserve it, which, speaking about it right now, doesn't feel like it makes a lot of sense. It's okay to ask for help. And again, my perspective versus the perspective I would put on another person. If I was witnessing someone else going through their rations and realizing, oh no, I don't have enough food. Of course, if I had enough, or even if I didn't have a ton of extra, I would say, how can I help you? So giving ourselves the patience and grace that we should give others, or do readily give to others, is important. And it's just nice that this hike was such an easy way to recognize these little virtuous instances.
One other point that I want to make is that something might seem strenuous and you expect the outcome to be hard or to feel like you really exerted yourself. And other times, if something seems really easy, then you expect to feel really calm and really unexerted. But sometimes those feelings don't always match up. And something that I was remarking on was feeling really good, even though the incline was steep. But I really balanced the challenges of the day with enjoying myself, which is essential in anything, especially things that are hard. I swam in the creek on the way up, and I ate the couscous, and I chatted with those people about my backpack and my umbrella. It's important to just try to take a step back when something seems really hard and not go too deep into the pain cave, for lack of a better phrase. And on the flip side, a day could be a really easy day. Or you could say, oh, I don't have much going on. It's going to be no big deal. And then it feels really laborious. And then when things like that happen, when your expectations don't meet the reality, or when what you expected is very different in orders of magnitude from what you thought it would be, it can feel disorienting and it can seem really disheartening. But I think hiking or even just awareness of your experience in general is good to just say, okay, I'm noticing that this is true. I expected it to be easy and it ended up being hard. Or I expected it to be really hard and I persevered and felt really good. And not to place judgment on that. I think, especially in the past, I loved to rationalize things. I rationalized everything. I wanted to use logic and reasoning to explain my experience to myself and mentally go through the motions of internalizing my experience. But with my meditation and with this hike, it's much simpler or better, or I think it's a more natural state to just witness. We do not need to use our minds to explain what's happening. Our bodies can just let things happen. And to witness and say, okay, this is what's going on. I'm recognizing and I'm observing, but I'm not judging or providing any analysis over what's happening is really refreshing and a much more pure way to experience moments. A lot of these points that I'm making are ones that I've heard over and over in one form or another. But I think that these little nuggets of wisdom are important to be repeated frequently and repeated in different contexts because you may hear the same thing like, oh, it's okay to ask for help. If you're in need, it's wise to ask for help. But unless you hear it in a time when it really resonates and you hear it in a time when you are able to ask, hearing advice when you're not ready to receive it is not helpful. And receiving advice when you're able and ready to receive it is really dependent on your state of mind. And that's why I appreciate reviewing these hiking audio moments as they relate to my life today, because learning how to roll with the punches and understanding that while planning is important, being flexible in the moment is also important. And being open-minded about your experience, whether it's something that you think will be hard or something that you think will be easy. All of these things are little virtues that I want to embody all the time, especially being patient with myself and not forcing outcomes or forcing productivity when I don't want to, because forcing anything makes it unpleasant and causes resistance. So noticing what I want to do and then respecting that is something that I'm learning to emphasize in my life. And especially noticing how that feels, because I've spent so much time thinking about how things sound, but not really internalizing and grasping how they feel, it has been really profound. And I'm still learning. I know that I will always still be learning. And I'm truly trying to approach making podcasts and helping others and pushing my body physically with an open mind. As long as everything is coming from a place of curiosity and compassion and open-mindedness and connection, as long as I'm trying to keep that in the forefront of my tasks, everything will be lived to the fullest. And that's all I can ask for, is to live a life of connection with myself, connection with my neighbors, connection with my community, connection with my family, and approaching things with compassion and open-mindedness and patience is the best way I can do this. So I'm so thrilled that I have been able to review the 9th day of hiking with you. I'm glad that today is the day that I get to share this experience. And the more that I look back on this hike, I'm just truly so grateful and hopeful that I can do something similar in the future, because being outside and connecting with nature and connecting with other people and sharing with each other is really what life is all about. That concludes this episode of Musings with Mile Marker. Thanks for listening. The intro and outro music are from a track called Wake Robin, composed and recorded by my late grandfather, Bob Ackery. Cover art for this podcast was designed by Polly Morwood. Production and editing of this podcast were done by me, your host, Mile Marker, aka Madeline Ackery. See you next time.